Hey everyone, this is Matt, aka Hustlin' Higgins, and today I'm going to give you a little introduction to the channel and kind of give you a breakdown of what I really would like to share with you as far as how I've, over the last 8 years, kind of found my way to, I would like to say, financial freedom. There's still a process ahead of it, and I'm really ecstatic to be enjoying that process. I used to never really understand the whole trust the process concept as a whole until I'm gonna say about 3 years ago, started having kind of a really epitome moment. And I don't know, I just like give you a little backstory on myself. At that point in time ago, about 3 years ago, I found myself up until that point, everything was assets. I wanted to build more. I was like, as long as I'm making smart decisions and buying into stuff that I feel like holds a value. And looking back, like some of that was more sentimental value than it really was equity, which of course is not the way you would like to go with that route. But I thought as long as I had these assets, then if times ever got hard, I'd always have this to sell. Like just build my net worth and build my net worth and build my net worth, and hey, like next thing you know, like I'm set. It doesn't work like that in any way, shape, or form. I mean, yeah, sometimes you get lucky, yada yada, but it just 9 times out of 10, it's not the realistic approach. And so what I'd done, say 3 years ago, I was stuck. I was working in a warehouse. I spent most of my early years working in a warehouse, which I'm 26, about to be 27 here next month, and I've spent I don't know, probably 6, 7 years in a warehouse, and then after that, I went to a desk job working for an auto parts store, which I had a little bit of mechanic background, and of course, I love cars. And I was like, yeah, this will be awesome. Like, I got a pretty good wage coming in, like, sit back, chill. Well, that's not for me. I'm not a retail type person. I love people, but I don't love people in retail. But getting back to the point, it just got so monotonous, so very monotonous that it was starting to drive me crazy. Like it was pouring into my life outside of work, and I couldn't. I don't know. It just got to a point where I couldn't take it. And about that time, 3 years ago, I actually started a landscaping business, and I was doing this part time, just kind of building it, just kind of seeing where it might possibly go. It was something like I enjoy being outside. I absolutely love being outside. Like I could stay outside 24/7. But landscaping is something I really, besides cutting grass, cutting lawns, like I don't know nothing about landscaping. Like what was I going to do? But hey, pick up a yard here and there. Like let me give it a try, see what happens. Well, I got into this, and like I started realizing, like hey, like I pick up on this stuff fairly quick, and this is something I really enjoy, but I can't do this outside this job. And so that was kind of my first like breaking point of, hey, I want to make my own schedule. I want to do what I like to do, and I can't do this here. Well, about that same time that I began that job, I bought a new house. Like I was living in a very humble house, and I found this house at that time. Like I was making fairly good money at the warehouse, and I was like, hey, like I can pull this loan. I can afford this. Well, I got into it. Like, God, that was a headache getting into it, but that's absolutely outside of this. Like, I got in and I was so ecstatic for like the first like I'm gonna say half a year, and then I started realizing that like, hey, this mortgage is eating up every bit of money I'm making. Like I'm almost having to pull extra hours just to really cover doing anything outside this mortgage. And so like I couldn't enjoy anything. Like life outside of that was rough because like I was literally just working to pay bills. And so at that time I was like, I really have to make a life changing decision. And that was tough because I liked everything I built. Like I had this, and going back to say me being a car guy, like it had a 3-car garage attached, plenty of room. Like it was a nice place, like it was a very nice place for me. And but man, like I really like I was living at the very top of my means. Like everything that I could do was that. Like outside of that, like I could not produce anymore. Like my income could not handle it. Like, and so I started getting miserable there. So here I'm getting miserable at work. I'm getting miserable because all this work is just going to paying for a house that honestly it got to a point like I'm an outside guy. I didn't want to be stuck in the house. Like I really wasn't even enjoying the full, the full scope of this home. And so at that point in time, I was like, I really have to bite the bullet and start backtracking. Like the only way I'm gonna go up is to go back down and not necessarily start over, but just kind of refine myself. Like find what really makes me happy and find a way to make this achievable. And so at that point in time, like I sat down and I was like, I gotta sell this home. Not only do I have to sell this home, I need to sell some of my bigger things, assets that I had accumulated that I really didn't spend the time to enjoy. Like I thought having this car would be cool, having this would be cool, but I wasn't getting my money's worth out of it. Like I wasn't getting my full enjoyment out of it. And so this kind of began that whole mind changes thing of what can I do to take a step back and really reassess my life and see what it takes to truly be happy. And at that time, like it seemed so hard. It seemed so hard to let go of these things, but I was bound and determined to do it. Like I knew that if I could per se eat shit for 2, 3, 4, 5 years or whatever and just go through this process, then in the end I was going to come out a lot better and I was going to come out farther ahead. A big goal of mine has always been to retire early, and like I had mentioned earlier, another big goal was to do what I love to do up until that point. And if I wanted to achieve all these things, the first thing I had to go was that house, those big assets, and just kind of re-humble myself. And everybody, we live in a society that seeks validation. We live in a society that wants to be the Joneses, that wants to show off to their neighbor, like, hey, this is flashy, this is nice. But at the end of the day, like, that isn't where happiness is found. And so, I don't know, I just want to say that, first of all, like, I'm not a minimalist. Like, I do have minimalist type tendencies. Like, I'm frugal, I guess would be a good case. But, I don't know, this is just a good introduction to me, and as we go forward with the channel, and I really hope I get a lot of people to follow along, and I hope that this can really impact their lives in a positive manner as far as just kind of seeing some of the steps that I've done to approach this and some of the steps I'm doing going forward. So, some things that I have to come, I'd like to take you through, I would like to take you through a little bit more of the process of downsizing to fit your needs, your income needs, and your saving needs, because saving's a big part, especially if you're looking for financial freedom. If you're just looking just to ease the stress of the whole financial, stress bubble that creates around you, like one of the big stressors in life is financials. Like it really is. And so if you can sit back and kind of, if you can just kind of see that, just kind of sit down and really speak to yourself and see, hey, this is making me happy, this is not making me happy, and just kind of evaluate those things. And so I'm going to show you kind of how I sat down and literally wrote out how I was going to evaluate this and what I really wanted in life, and wrote a short-term plan, wrote a long-term plan, and something that somebody always says I really feel like sticks with me is, as I ramble on here, is, we overestimate what we can do in a year, we underestimate what we can do in 10 years, and man, that is correct. Everything seems so slow in a smaller time frame. You're working, you're like, I can get this done, I can get this done, I can get this done. You set these short-term goals, and you set them too far away, and they're not necessarily too hard to reach. They're just you're just putting so much on yourself trying to get this in a short time frame when life is patience. Patience is a virtue. Like, you really got to set out good time frames and just kind of lay the plan out and let it kind of fall in between that and where you're at now. And you know, really, I'm just going to leave it there because I'm wanting to touch more in depth as we go on. And so I just want this to be a good basic introduction video. I hope anybody watching this has really enjoyed it, and I hope that we can go farther forward and break some of this down, and hopefully it'll help you out in your journey.